Hello there and welcome to our Loco for Leeds. It's my channel where we talk all things Leeds United. And today, for a bit of fun, I thought with us playing Cardiff City on the weekend, I thought I'd look at five players who have played for both Cardiff and Leeds. And so yeah, let's get straight into the video. And the first name on my list is a player that I think both sets of fans will remember. It's Stephen McPhail. Now, Stephen McPhail, he began his career with Leeds. He came through the youth system at Leeds, made his debut in 1997 for Leeds, a little bit before my time of supporting the club. But he came through it, of course, and he played a good 7 years with us, and he left in sort of 2004, went to Barnsley, and then a few years later he ended up at Cardiff City playing his football, and that's where he played the majority of his games, of his career games. He managed nearly 200 appearances for Cardiff. In the centre of midfield. He won promotion with Cardiff as well, sort of midway through his spell there. So yeah, I think it's a player that both sets of fans will remember, fondly, really. And moving on to the second player in my list, which is a player that I think again will be memorable to both sets of supporters. Certainly Cardiff supporters. The second name in my list is Lee Peltier. And I say mainly Cardiff supporters will remember him because, of course, he only left in January, didn't he? So he's played for he played for them very recently, but he's had a long list of clubs as Peltier, but he played for us under Neil Warnock for 2 seasons. Again, it was in the sort of era of Leeds not really doing much, having a lot of players who just really weren't so bothered about playing for Leeds, and I don't think Peltier came under that headline really. I think he relished playing for Leeds. He was the captain for a short time with us. He, obviously on the right side of the defence, he was a fairly regular fixture in Neil Warnock's sides, and he didn't really set the world alight with Leeds. He was a fairly solid. It was a fairly solid option for us at the time, in all honesty, I couldn't believe it when he ended up playing in the Premier League before us as a club got to the Premier League, because I don't think he is Premier League quality, but he did manage to. He was obviously part of the promotion season for Cardiff. The year before last. He played, obviously, like I say, a little bit in the Premier League for him last season under Neil Warnock, and I think he's had his fair share of injuries, to be fair, but he's I don't think he's really featured much for them this season, obviously now, and he looks as if he's going to get another promotion under his belt, because he's now with West Brom, of course, and I don't know why West Brom have taken him on, maybe just as a bit of cover. I don't know, he's yet to play for them this season, but I think they will go up with us, so I think he will end up at the end of the season having another promotion on his CV. Whether he plays in the Premier League, that's another thing, isn't it? But yeah, he's the second player on my list. Now the third one, and this player is a bit of an iconic player, definitely for Leeds, not so much for Cardiff. But again, he's a player that was just a little bit before my time for us. But it's Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and what a player Jimmy was for us. I mean, he didn't play that many didn't he only played a couple of seasons, I think, in the sort of mid to late 90s, and yeah, I think he ended up making something like 60, 64 or something appearances, and he scored something like 30, 34 goals for us in all, in all his appearances, and that is a pretty, that is a pretty good ratio of goals to game, isn't it? Really, I think he was a very, looking at videos and things from his time at Leeds, he was a fan's favourite. And he was a great striker, wasn't he? And uh, yeah, and he obviously can still be seen. As a regular pundit on Leeds games on Sky Sports. He seems to be on there quite a lot, giving his opinions on Leeds this season. But he did play for Cardiff as well. I think Cardiff was actually his last club. Correct me if I'm wrong, any Cardiff fans or anybody in the comments. But yeah, I think it was his last club, and that obviously came in his twilight of his career. I think he was something like 36 when he was playing for Cardiff. I think in the Championship as well. So he was obviously looking to sort of finish his career, and I think he did there at Cardiff. I don't think he really did too much with them, but like I say, it was an iconic. He's an iconic player for Leeds, and and unfortunately, he hasn't seemed to work out for him in management. He's tried his hand at it in quite a few teams now, and it doesn't seem to go right for him. It never really does for some reason. It's a bit of a shame. But he was a great player, wasn't he, for Leeds anyway. But that brings us on to me. To me fourth player in this list, which is of course Ross McCormack. Now, Ross McCormack was brilliant. Again, he played with Peltier, didn't he, for Leeds, in that team under Warnock, and then under Brian McDermott as well. And he captained Leeds as well. Same as Peltier. But I think Ross McCormack, he was brilliant for us. I was delighted when we signed him. I remember, and we signed him from Cardiff, where I think he was on fire for them as well. Where in the few years that he played for them, signed on from Cardiff, and he just hit the ground running with us. He scored a lot of goals, and some really really brilliant ones as well. And you could tell for a time when he was the captain of Leeds. He seemed to bleed Leeds. He just seemed to show that real passion for Leeds that as supporters you want to see, don't you? And that's what we want to see. From the players, and he really gave that, I think, and you could see how much he wanted to get Leeds up. Obviously, it never happened. From there, he went to Fulham. And again he ripped it up there. He was a very good signing for them. Then he obviously went on to Villa. Didn't really work out for him at Villa. I think he had a bit of a disagreement with the management, and then he ended up in Australia playing for a bit. The last I have known of him, he was at Motherwell, but I'm not quite sure if he's still there now. It's of course a team that he played for in the sort of early part of his career. There was always that time when it came to kind of transfer windows where people would say, "Oh, what about Ross McCormack back?" And you thought, "Well, maybe," but it never happened. And obviously, he's not getting any younger now, really. But I think he's well into his 30s now, or early 30s at least. So he's, I don't think he'll be coming back, will he? And I don't really think he'd be fitting in this side, actually, to be honest. But at the time, he was brilliant for us, and and obviously for Cardiff as well, I think. So So yeah, a popular player all round. And the last one in my list, it's a player who who's still playing for Cardiff right now is and of course playing for Leeds. It's Solomon Bamba, sorry, Sol Bamba, Mr. Bamba playing for Cardiff at the moment. He played for us in that kind of really unforgettable era for us where Celino was the chairman and it's just all going wrong, for us. And he's got a disastrous partnership with Giuseppe Bellusci. I remember at times seeing Bellusci and Bamba at centre back pairing, and you just think, how many are we going to lose by today? Then because it was comical. I remember in particular a game at Brighton. We got battered. I think it was 4-0 in the end, but the two of them were just, it was a comedy duo at the back. It was just it was just error after error after error that day, and that was basically what his whole time partnered with Belushi at the back was. And to be fair, probably the most of the time with us anyway. He had the odd really good game and scored the odd really good goal, to be honest, but generally he was quite poor. Got a move to Cardiff, won promotion with Cardiff the season before last, and then again it's a player where you think, will he cut it in the Premier League? And he kind of did, actually, to be fair to him. I thought that he did play pretty well, and he had some really good performances for Cardiff last season in the Premier League, and he's had his fair share of injuries. He's been injured a lot this season, I think, for them. I'm not sure if he's back now. Any Cardiff fans wanna let me know on that one, but I'm not sure. But yeah, he for us, I don't think it was really. He wasn't very good. I think he's had a bit more success with Cardiff and playing there. But anyway, let me know what everybody thinks. Cardiff and Leeds fans, of course. On any players that I might have missed out, and your favourite players for Cardiff and Leeds as well. So yeah, let's look forward to the game on Saturday. I predict us to win, of course. But my prediction will be coming on later on in the week, of course, so watch out for that. Remember to like and subscribe this, and remember to drop me a like and subscribe if you like the content. There will be more coming. Marching on together, and I'll see you on the next one.